how did you have problems going into a relationship explaining to them your past? Like, one thing Eddie said, he's like, people look at people like us and they're just like, don't fuck with them. They didn't come from a good family. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. And like, I felt like I actually had the opposite problem where I would meet men who were like super prestigious and they came from prestigious families and they had this and they had that and they had all this bread and they whatever, and I just would feel inadequate because I didn't come from that, and they would think I did by the look of me. But then when I I wouldn't even tell them because I was just like so embarrassed to be like, well, I'm actually the milkman's baby, and right, and I don't come from a good situation at all. And like, it put me in a place. It's funny because like I always say, like, me and my fiance had the like similar situations. His is not as bad as mine at all, but like we both like had parents who didn't like each other, broke up before we were 5 and whatever. And like, so for him it was easy to deal with for the most part, but he still be looking at me like, yo, your family weird as fuck. Okay. Like, not on no like disrespectful stuff, but he just like be like, how they mad at you because they did this and what and what?
It is weird.
It's weird. It's weird.
My wife, her parents, they were together for years. We talking probably 20, 30 years. And she couldn't understand, like, she understood that me and my parents didn't talk. It was a complicated situation, but she kind of stayed away from it. She didn't understand. She would bring it up once in a while. I'm like, yo, just drop it. Just leave it alone. But then when she got pregnant with our first son, she was like, look, I don't care what y'all got going on. I want my kid to know their grandparents, whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's a hard one.
We gave it a try. Like, even after all the BS with my mom, I tried to sit down with my mom. That did not work. That just didn't work. You know what I mean? Me and my mom sat down, had a talk or whatever, and it just, my mom she can't take accountability. You know, she will refuse to say that she's wrong. You know, she will talk and she'll admit that like it was a little wild growing up, but she won't just be like, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm wrong, right? So
that's crazy because that's all that can fix the situation.
Yeah. So that didn't work out. Then with my father, it's a little bit different. My mom had a little hands in on raising me, but my dad, he just really wasn't there at all. I would go to my uncle's house and my dad would be there. I hadn't seen him in months. You know what I mean? So we really didn't have a real relationship, but we sat down and when we sat down and talked, I told him, I said, look, you missed all of that. Like, you know, growing up, the football games, basketball, all of that. So don't even try to dwell on that. Don't even try to, like, that father-son thing. Don't really try all of that. Just be here. You know, just be a granddad, and you know, all that, you know, as your parents, you know, they try to be a little stern with you, or they try to like, well, I'm your father. Don't try all that, cause I'm grown now. You know what I mean?
So it's like,
you're not gonna get that off.
Yeah,
but just be here. Just be respectful and be here. Cause I told him straight out. I said, my wife forced this conversation. Like, she had me sit down with my dad, and I told her, I said, look, I'm never gonna disrespect you. I'm never gonna call you out your name. I'm gonna give you the respect as my dad. But just forget trying to catch up on old times. Let's just start new times. You know, let's build on from today on out. And since that day, like I said, me and him ain't the best of friends. He don't call me every day. But one thing, when holidays come around, oh, what's up with my grandkids? You know, his birthday, he just celebrated his 52nd birthday. Me and my kid, we showed up. We were there. You know what I mean? So, like, it took a reset. You know, it took my wife to push that, to say, like, I want my kids to know that, you know what I mean? And even though it didn't work out with my mom, we tried, but at least we reconciled something, you know? So it was a weird situation at first. She couldn't understand because where she comes from a two-parent home, you know, somebody that gets up and busts their ass every day.
Right.
And, but she pushed a positive light on my situation that I probably wouldn't have done myself. I probably would have just had a F you mentality and just kept it pushing. But if it wasn't for her, the little relationship that me and my dad do have now, we probably wouldn't have if she wouldn't have pushed that, you know.